Good evening, everybody. If I may ask you to take a seat so we can get started with our high-caliber meetup tonight, because we have such an interesting program tonight. It's better to get started as soon as possible. So my name is Vivian, and I'm excited to be hosting you through tonight's schedule. And as you have seen, tonight's program is kind of a little bit of a switch up to our usual events, as we will have 3 companies presenting for 20 minutes each their products. We won't have a Q&A after each of the companies, but we will have a combined question and answer at the very end. So just remember your questions, and you can ask them at the end. So as you have seen, the 3 companies tonight, they have very different products and use cases with cryptocurrencies, but they all have the same safe handling of your cryptocurrencies as a common denominator. As we all kind of know and have painfully experienced, cryptocurrencies still has some security flaws with the selling, buying, and storing of our coins. Therefore, we're excited to bring together 3 companies, Crypto Storage, ByT, and Edge, to you, which all address a different aspect of their solution for security reasons. First up, we will have Dr. Lewin Boehnke from Crypto Storage, who will talk to us about the institutional requirements of access control of your crypto assets. So please welcome with a warm applause, Lewin Boehnke.
Hi. Can you hear me? Great. Can you hear me still? Better. Good. Yeah, Lewin Boehnke, I feel that I know about half of you at least from all the meetups that happened prior. But nevertheless, let me introduce myself. I'm Lewin Boehnke. I used to be a theoretical physicist before finally moving into cryptocurrencies, which gives me a technology background where most of the other people from crypto finance have a banking and finance background. So I joined that team in last October as head of research, which really just means having an eye on the technology, having an eye to the community, to just inform about trends, about technologies, about something that we might miss otherwise, and also kind of inform and evaluate the ideas and products from the company from the perspective of technology. What do we have to be aware of to not run into traps? One of these things was obviously that within crypto finance, we needed to store crypto assets. And since we did not find a good solution on the market to do that on an institutional level, we just founded our own. Yeah, here our marketing department had some fun. Here kind of as well. But let me maybe give you a very brief introduction. Crypto finance, the first idea was crypto fund, really doing a passive index fund. As boring as possible to make it as easy as possible for the regulator to accept that. And very quickly we realized that in order to do that, we need a broker that has the reporting capabilities that we need in order for the fund to be regulated. So we founded that as well. It's live since November, I guess? November? Yeah, good. And then we realized that for both the fund and the broker, we need the possibility to store crypto assets. Did some due diligence around, was not convinced, and did our own stuff. So today I'm here on behalf of Crypto Storage to just tell you something about how to store crypto assets in general, and then also on the institutional level. Okay. So why is storing crypto assets difficult? Why is it more difficult than storing other assets? Basically, the reason is that sending money as a process that is established over the millennia. Party A sends via some banking system to Party B, and the banking system has inherent checks and balances. Right? This is indicative of that. It's Deutsche Bank accidentally sent 35 billion to Eurex. I would love to tell you more about the story, but there is very little publicly known. But apparently they were trying to send like a few orders of magnitude less than that. Did not really hurt anybody. Right? It was just realized, they sent it back. This is not really going to happen in crypto. This is not because we don't have a gentleman agreement. or we are not gentlemen. It happens because there is just the possibility of something going wrong and the money being nowhere, unrecoverable. So the stakes, even though we rarely transfer 35 billion, the stakes are much, much higher. The controls that we need are much higher because we don't have the checks and balances in the banking system, right? So in crypto, it's really just party A sending to party B. That's it. So again, why is it hard? Basically, all it takes in order to spend crypto assets, and I'm probably not telling you anything new at this point, is a number, is the private key. Whoever knows that private key can get access to the crypto assets. You need it for spending them. As opposed to the public key, which is for deposits and for watching. Public key, you can then easily make a QR code out of it, look up what you have on this public key for watching, realize that you should have gotten out your mobile a few minutes ago. At the other hand, it's surprising, I mean, I'm not doing this for the first time, it's surprising that storing private keys in a presentation that you're giving in front of, how many is it, 150 people, seems to be more secure than I expected. Quite often it's not claimed at all, and also this presentation already gave that to Lucas yesterday, and he did not grab the money, right? Okay, so, but let's not rely on that. So we have to secure a number, an information. That is somewhat not that easy. It looks very easy on first try, so how do you deal with crypto assets? What do you need? You need a room without windows, so that when you generate the key, you don't have anybody looking at you. You don't have any cameras in there. It's really just a secured location. You need a pen and a paper in order to make notes in the process. You need precision dice from nitrocellulose. Those are the dice that you use in casinos, for example. It's very important, though, to store them cold and dry, otherwise they will develop cracks and become uneven. And if you use an uneven dice to generate your private key and somebody finds that dice later, he has a pretty good guess on which areas of the sample space for random numbers to look more for and be able to crack your keys. Right. You need a good book about cryptography, because obviously using anything like a computer in order to generate the private key from the randomness and the public key from the private key and the address from the public key, that somewhat exposes you to a lot of vulnerabilities in that software. Setting up a laptop for doing those tasks is really, really hard. You need a few hours of time, obviously, or a lot of experience, then you might make it within one, I don't know. And you need a bowl and matches in order to burn all your notes afterwards, right? Including the full block, because you might just have pressed a little too hard and left some traces on the papers below that. And you need a good memory in order to memorize your private key and your address. The reason why I say that you cannot just use a laptop for that task is basically there is a manual on how to do it with a laptop. It's called the Glacier Protocol. It has 96 pages. And it starts off with buy 2 laptops from 2 different hardware vendors, do all steps simultaneously on both, then turn both of them around. Grab out the Wi-Fi card and the Bluetooth card, because there have been exploits in the past that even if you think that you don't use the Wi-Fi card, just the existence of them is already an exploit. This is a problem. These dice, they are not because I think it's funny to do it myself. It's because there has been a bug in the Microsoft random number generator in 2007 that is used to generate randomness. I call it a bug, but most likely it was a backdoor. So if something like that would repeat today, and you generated your keys on a Microsoft computer, offline, not offline, none of that matters because the funds are gone. Your key might be guessable, right? By the way, I looked at the code for Electrum. On Windows, Electrum still uses the exact same system call to Microsoft random number generator that was compromised in 2007. So if you did generate your keys on a Windows computer, you might reconsider your choices at this point, depending on the amount. So yeah, that's great. You need a good memory. Maybe it's not very easy after all, but it's very secure, and I already touched on most of them. You have perfect entropy, you have no side channel attacks because you're in a closed environment. You have no external dependencies like random number generators. So this is the proper way to generate and store and use your private keys. Pen and paper and a good memory. Maybe we might have over-engineered towards security at this point and got rid of usability, which would not even be so bad if it were secure in total, but we also violated integrity. We will most definitely forget our key, right? This is not a good approach. So what else can we do? Web wallets, they are super easy to use. You completely depend on third parties, and I won't even tell you which options there are on the market because just no. Second, wallet on a PC or a mobile, there are a few options out there. They are easy to use. Most of them has a seed backup to protect, so to have a backup of all your funds. They are as secure as your PC, and how good that is, you have to have that under control yourself. And for some, it might work better than for others. The other solution is to have a wallet on a PC or mobile with a hardware wallet attached to it. In this case, unfortunately, this has not been continued as far as I know. Ledger hardware wallet connected directly to the mobile. It's easy to use. You have the same seed backup. It's not as secure as the PC. It's as secure as the hardware wallet that you have on the PC. So I could talk all night about different hardware wallets, different trade-offs, have a display, don't have a display. Something that I would like to add just through Digital Bitbox, Ledger, Trezor. I use Digital Bitbox, one here, and I use Digital Bitbox because those guys are here in Zurich, and I can get one directly from them, which eliminates a large part of the supply chain attacks or delivery attacks. Right? I guess one of the major next huge exploits will be random number generators on hardware wallets. I would be surprised if this would not be a big thing. We are somehow violating big game, small game fallacy at this point. It might be worthwhile attacking the fabs fabricating the random number generators on these hardware wallets that end up in all these systems. And so it's removing as many of these steps as possible is a good thing. So getting delivery directly from the producer is a benefit. Right. So this is yet another example of how awesome the checks and balances in the traditional banking system are. This situation had its own Wikipedia article. Read it; it's really fun. People got access to the SWIFT credentials of the Bangladeshi central bank and tried to withdraw 1 billion funds in 32, I guess, portions all over the world. They got out 80 million, until they misspelled the word foundation in one of the payouts to foundation. That set off a few alarms and got it flagged for human checks that prevented 1 billion to go out. So even though it was a mistake or an accident in this case, checks and balances are reasonable. So what can we do? We can just say, okay, let the blockchain do some checks and balances. To some extent, that's possible. We can have checks and balances like this, right? This is a 5 of 5 multisig. You have to remove all 5 locks in order to get access to whatever is behind this lock. This is a 1 of 6 multisig. Whichever of these locks you remove, you will always be able to open the door. That kind of protection is already good. You have native support for that in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple. Ripple, even a bit more than that, they have something like weights on top of it. You can do something like reaching a total weight of 5, whereas I'm already weight of 4. So that's great. It's something like that is possible with some workarounds on Ethereum, on Monero. Ethereum, for example, yeah, I'll come to that later, but workarounds. And it's not possible for other assets. IOTA does not have any option at all for getting any multisig capabilities. So what does workaround mean? In Ethereum, this is using smart contracts, and smart contracts, multisig smart contracts. The most popular multi-sig smart contract famously lost $250 million in the last 6 months due to several hacks. In one case, funds were stolen. In the other case, funds were just locked. Just because it's not a native feature of the blockchain, it's an on-top feature on the blockchain. It's not supported in the same way. So it's a weird language to put it, but it's the level of trust I would put into this is much lower than for Bitcoin, where it's just part of the protocol. So I don't really want to use that, and also I want to store IOTA, or I might want to store whatever. Right. So what else can we do? Can also do it the other way around, without having, instead of having party A wire checks and balances on the blockchain, sending it to party B, we can just say, okay, let's do the checks and balances at party A. Right. So we have to just build infrastructure at party A's location in order to enable checks and balances there. This is especially important in institutional setups where you need to make sure that certain operational processes, certain approvals through certain people are appreciated before sending funds. So some things that you can see out in the wild for that is just using these retail level hardware wallets. For some reason, it's much easier for retail individuals to get a decent storage solution than for institutionals. Get these retail level hardware wallets and put them just in an operational setup or in a physical security where you have then processes in order to access that. So you just put the access control in front of the hardware wallet, which is then operated by an individual. This can, of course, be somewhat in conjunction with multisig if it's available on chain. Okay, another option which is quite popular recently, or at least I got on some panel discussions, BitGo mentioned something like that, and Coinbase, I believe, as well, that for their institutional storage, they use Shamir secret sharing, which really just means you have the private key and you put it, you slice it up into chunks. This is very simplified. You do that in a cryptographic way where without having the necessary quorum, you have zero information about the key, and with the necessary quorum, you have all the information about the key. That's great. You do need people coming together in order to spend funds. The problem is those people really only agree to putting the key together. They don't agree to putting the key together and do a certain transaction with it. Right? So there is still, first at the creation of the key, and then also when you put it together, there is a high risk of collusion or of something happening at that point, some compromised system on which you then do the cryptography to steal the funds. So this is really not what we are aiming for. So what we've been aiming for, and I have 1 minute left for that, that's fine because I cannot give you all the details anyway, is we partnered with Securisys. Securisys is a Zurich-based hardware security module producer. They build these awesome devices. Those really just solve the problem of physical access. Physical access is root access. So what these devices do is they have a tamper-proof box with a lot of sensors all along, and whenever this device suggests that it has been tampered with, it will just self-destruct all the information on the device. There is nothing to gain for an attacker. You have to worry about redundancy, of course, at that point, but this is solvable. We use this in conjunction with another great device built by Securisys. Securisys plans these devices as remote configuration tools for HSM. We just misuse them for something else, namely for a way of giving approvals to transactions, in this case, a Litecoin transaction. That's about it. These devices have the same security characteristics as the HSM itself. It has the same sensors. It has smart card slots. It has a touchpad. So it has all the parts that you need in order to make it a proper hardware wallet. And in conjunction with the HSM itself, it allows for all that we need. That's about it. What I would like to add is please apply. These are not all the jobs. I did not have time to put more jobs on there, but we do need people. If you are a talented Java backend developer or a systems engineer, or just apply. Yeah. Thank you very much.